the country, the discrepancies in the results range from awarding candidates wrong marks, assigning candidates marks for subjects they did not sit for, schools being assigned different grades. In other instances, candidates receiving higher grades for lower scores and vice versa. Honorable Speaker, it is noted that a total of 1.4 million students sat for the 2023 KCPE exams with the hope of joining secondary schools. However, these discrepancies will not only delay secondary school placement of these candidates, but also compromise the integrity of NEC in delivering credible results moving forward. It is therefore imperative that this matter be addressed to safeguard the future of these candidates. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek leave of the adjournment of the House to discuss this matter of national concern with a view of exploring possible ways of resolving the reported and widely irregularities. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Do you have the requisite support numbers? Thank you, members. The support is overwhelming. We may take your seats. Honorable Mukunji, today we are sitting up to 9. So I will allocate your motion to be moved at 7:30 today. You move at 7:30. You are all obligated to be here until 9. So, thank you. Next.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable members, I have 3 statements to be made. Ordinarily, we don't debate statements. Justice Kemei has asked me to give him an opportunity to make comments on the statement by Honorable Kemei. But we'll take all the 3 statements first, then I'll give you the requested opportunity. Honorable Kemei. Member for Kericho County.
I wish to request for statement regarding the tragic drowning of 2 residents of Sigawet Soin constituency of Kericho County. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44(2) Part C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Regional Development regarding the tragic drowning of 2 residents of Koil Sil Tuyabe in Sigawet Soin on Tuesday, 21st November 2023. Honorable Speaker, the members of the public in Koil Sil in Sigawet Soin are in distress following the drowning of Mr. Julius Tanui and Mr. Peter Terer at the convergence of Kipsonoy and Chemosit rivers. Despite dedicated rescue efforts by local divers, the bodies of the victims remain unrecovered, intensifying the anguish of their families and the community at large. Honorable Speaker, this unfortunate incident underscores a broader and persistent issue in the region. That is the absence of a bridge connecting Sigawet Soin constituency, Pureti constituency, and Nyamira County over the Kipsonoy and Chemosit rivers. The lack of a bridge has not only resulted in the recent loss of lives, but has claimed over 20 lives in similar incidences over the years. The community has continued to suffer repeated tragedies due to the disastrous conditions around these rivers. Honorable Speaker, for the past 1 week, the families of the victims and the entire community have been in excruciating state of waiting for closure. The impact of this strategy is magnified as Mr. Terer and Mr. Tanui leave behind widows and 6 children each. The families are grappling with heart-wrenching uncertainty. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Regional Development on the following. One, what immediate measures is the government taking to expedite the retrieval of the bodies of Mr. Peter Terrer and Mr. Julius Tanui to provide comprehensive measures are being put in place to address disaster risk in the area and enhance the safety of the community. Thirdly, what plans are in place to address compensation for the families of the victims? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Member for Likuyani. Honorable Innocent Mugabe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to seek a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Tourism and Wildlife regarding the state of Kenya's beaches, which are one of the country's major tourism products. Honorable Speaker, beach tourism is the main socioeconomic activity and source of livelihood for the coastal people. However, beach tourism has become a tired and less competitive product in the last 2 decades. Kenyan beaches have been invaded by aggressive local informal operators who engage in a variety of tourism-related businesses, both regulated and unregulated, and harass visitors. This has a negative impact on the beach tourism industry in Kenya. Moreover, this has led to increased insecurity, poor waste management that threatens marine parks and beach ecology, lack of necessary infrastructure at the beaches, and increased conflict among beach users. Honorable Speaker, these issues have contributed to making Kenyan beaches unattractive and uncompetitive, resulting in significant economic losses to the counties that depend on beach tourism and to the national exchequer. Coastal and inland tourism sectors, which rely on the beach, face stiff competition from other more attractive beach destinations around the globe. Honorable Speaker, it is for this reason that I seek a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Tourism and Wildlife to request us. One, the plans that the ministry has put in place to protect, rehabilitate, and promote beach tourism in Kenya. Two, the sustainable management programs that the ministry has initiated to protect the environment and contribute to climate change mitigation and adaptation measures. And any specific policy and legislative proposals that the ministry has developed to guide beach management in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Member for Tarbo, Honorable Janet Sitianei. Yes. So,
Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations regarding killing and maiming of residents of Kamagut Kiblombe Ward in Tarbo constituency by Kenya Defense Forces officers on 26 November 2023. Honorable Speaker, the killings happened when the victims allegedly trespassed onto a KDF maize farm situated on the contested buffer zone that the KDF hived off from the land that it ought to have put and Buombe settlement schemes. The KDF a deep and 5-meter wide and fenced trench around the zone and has been using it for cultivation under the Kenya Ordnance Factories Corporation. Sadly, the trench has become a death trap for residents, and it claimed 4 lives of school children in 2021, 3 of them at once, and recently, on 21st July 2023, an 8-year-old minor fell into the trench and died. Honorable Speaker, 4 persons were killed by KDF on 26 November 2023, and several others were maimed and are hospitalized. The attacks by KDF on residents have been happening over time. Honorable Speaker, on 25th December 2021, 2 people were shot and 5 others maimed by KDF officers for protesting erection of boundary beacons by KDF without involving residents or their leaders. The residents have also been hit by stray bullets from KDF shooting range, which has also caused loss of lives and pain and suffering to the people of Kiblombe. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations on the following. 1. What prompted the Kenya Defense Forces officers to use live ammunition on residents who are unarmed? What measures in the Ministry of Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations are they taking to ensure coexistence between the KDF and the residents? 3. What steps has the KDF in Eldoret instituted to address loss of lives, especially minors who have lost their lives in trenches around the barracks since 2021? 4. What disciplinary and legal actions have been taken against the KDF officers involved in the alleged killings and maiming of residents in various incidences? 5. What does the ministry intend to do to conclude the process of relinquishing the disputed portion of land to Kamagut, Kiblombe, and Buemba settlement schemes quarters, and compensate the residents for the loss of their loved ones and livestock lost over the trenches over the years? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, go on.
Honorable Speaker, I seek your indulgence to allow a few members that may have similar situations in the places where there is a conflict between the KDF and the community. And also, Honorable Speaker, I do take note that life is very precious. Life is very important, and we should take care of it. This is a paradox that there's very officers who are mandated to protect our nation and to protect the lives of people are actually the ones killing and maiming the community members. We have lost lives before on a Christmas day. We have lost lives recently last week, and it has brought a lot of distress within the community instead of a good coexistence between the community and the KDF officers. And furthermore, the community is supposed to act.
Janet, the rules require that you just read the statement as you have brought it. I've allowed you some latitude. You can end there. I give you 30 seconds to finish what you are saying. I've given you 30 seconds to finish what you are saying.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I was saying they had an opportunity to arrest whoever those the community members in court. They did not have to kill people because life is very sacred. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Justice Kemei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
2 minutes.
Yeah, just thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity you've given me to add my voice to the statement sought by Mrs. Beatrice Kemei, Honorable Beatrice Kemei, from Kericho County. Mr. Speaker, For over 7 days now, the people of Koil Sir, the people of Cheptuyet, and indeed the people of Sigawit have been living in anguish as they seek to find out where Julius and Peter are. They've used rudimentary technologies, Mr. Speaker. They've used local divers to try and find out where these two people are. As at yesterday, Mr. Speaker, representatives of the families went all the way to Odino in Rachuonyo, where there was a report of some recovery of some bodies. And it has been very, very difficult for them. Much as the issue has been directed to the chair regional integration, Mr. Speaker, would have also wanted the office of the president to say something. We raised the matter before the district security committees of Sigawit Soin constituency and Nyakach on Monday. And Mr. Speaker, we wish to get help from the government so that these people could, their bodies could be retrieved, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, and once more, thank you for the opportunity you've given me.
Yes, Honorable Pukose. 2 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I sympathize with the member for Tarbo for the incident that occurred in Kamagut. And Honorable Speaker, I'm also a farmer. And this issue about Mrokoto is a very serious issue when we harvest our maize and the people are waiting outside there. I think we need as much as we want to be sympathetic, would want to ask those people who want to pick whatever has remained from there to also be unorganized and allow the process of harvesting to be complete. Honorable Speaker, we'd also want to encourage our disciplined forces to have a good relationship with the neighboring community. In my area, Honorable Speaker, of Chemugengen, whenever mothers go and fetch even firewood from the forest, recently I got report that the young officers from the Kenya Forest Service are beating up mothers, beating up people who have gone to the forest. And I think this is something that must stop. The officers, disciplined forces, whether you are police, Kenya Forest Service, you must cultivate a good relationship with the neighboring community. You cannot beat mothers who have gone to pick firewood in Jemgengen Forest or Kimodon Forest or any other forest in Endebess, whether it is swamp forest, whether it's Kimodon, that should never happen. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to really sympathize with the Honorable Member and ask that the government should look for a way of how to act responsibly and also compensate those who are killed in Kamagut. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, member for Kesses.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also weigh in on the statement sought by Honorable Janet Itienne, Member of Parliament, Tarbo. Mr. Speaker, I want to make a statement of witness on the fateful day when I got the news that people have been brutally killed at the RTS area. I managed to went there myself to confirm and to witness as I went to convey my condolences to the people. Mr. Speaker, it is so painful to see and to witness what happened on that day, that the bodies were scattered like dogs, the way they were killed brutally with good weapons, not like a case of an attack where the police was, the military army was defending themselves. But this was a deliberate, intentional attack on the people, killing them mainly like anybody would kill a stray dog. Mr. Speaker, this is a question that it requires a serious inquiry into it, so that we're able to understand what is the situation under which military, our officers who have been given responsibility to protect the citizens from external atrocities have turned out to attack the internal people where they need to coexist together. There are serious allegations by women around there of assault and rape that most of the time on repeated occasions, the same officers has been raping them whenever they find them going for their hearts, and they take advantage on them, or even at night, because these are a situation where there are villages on the hand side of this particular parcel of land, and the communities have to visit themselves the other side over this side, and they have been doing all these inhuman activities on them. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to weigh in my voice as I condemn this act and ask the committee relevant to go in depth and understand, probably even include visiting that area and get the views of the people, so that we bring out a conclusion report that we are going to ensure we sort out these problems once and for all. The aspect of people using powers beyond to the citizens of the Republic of Kenya instead of protecting them is inhuman.
Thank you. Yes, member for Sigor, sorry.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Member for Kericho, where 2 residents drowned, and now she seeks a statement from the Committee on Regional Development. We feel for that. And equally, Honorable Speaker, it's unfortunate that from the member for Tarbo, it's reported that citizens were killed by KDF. And on Monday, Honorable Speaker, it was reported, and I think it happened, that the same KDF killed 4 people in the border between Turkana and Pokot. People who were not of KDF. So it is similar to what happened at RTS. And Honorable Speaker, it's unfortunate that whereas we think that the KDF personnel are well trained, they have now taken into the habit of taking shortcut, and instead of arresting people, they are now killing innocent Kenyans. So I want to say that I think an inquiry needs to be done, and we need to understand those who gave instructions to KDF to go to the places they are in, whether they were given instructions to go and kill or to go and restore peace and bring about order in those areas. As we talk about this, Honorable Speaker, it is our belief that either our forces are not well trained, or either they are not even well equipped to be able to arrest those they suspect could be criminals or even bandits. And we want to say that I think an inquiry needs to be undertaken into the work and even the behavior and even the way KDF forces are conducting themselves, especially when they are dealing with citizens wherever they have been sent to under.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I would want to sympathize with the honorable member on this particular issue, and I truly feel the impact that we are all having, because the KDF are in our communities and they have military bases across, and the same case is happening even in Boni Forest. As of 3 days ago, they killed a gentleman by the name Mr. Abdikadir Abdo, who was herding his cattle in Boni Forest. So it's quite unfortunate, because even the justice system becomes a very long process, and we are still having cases of families who have not even been compensated. But the issue of compensation should not even come if the military and the KDF are able to conduct themselves in a manner that is respectable to the community while offering the services that we need from them. So this is a matter that is of concern, and I would really want to urge the government to intervene so that we could get answers on the same. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Liz.
Asante sana Bwana Spika kunipatia hii nafasi pia kuchangia juu ya shida ambayo imefanyika kule Tarbo constituency. Nataka kuchukua nafasi ya kwanza mimi mwenyewe kutoa risala za rambirambi yangu mimi mwenyewe na ya Nakuru County, na niseme pole sana kwa Mheshimiwa Janet ambaye ni mjumbe wa Tarbo, na niseme pole sana kwa wananchi wa Kamagut kwa shida ambayo iliwapata. Bwana Spika, ni maajabu sana kusikia wale watu ama wale maofficers ambaye wanahitajika kulinda wananchi na kulinda mali yao. Hawa ndio wanaua watu. Bwana Spika, hata kama watu walikuwa wameenda kuiba, kama ni kuiba, lakini ninaamini kwamba mambo ya utamaduni wetu, baada ya mahindi kufunwa, kuna wale watoto ama watu ambaye wanafuata mahali mahindi zimefunwa na wanaokota zenye zimebaki. Hii ni mambo ya kiujamii na ni mambo ya kibibilia, hata ukifuata kwa Biblia. Bwana Spika, kama hawa watu wanasemekana walikuwa wameenda kufanya hivyo, sio makosa, na hata kama walikuwa wameenda, kama ni kusema wameiba, si lazima mtu auliwe sababu ameiba. Mtu akipatikana mwizi ana. Kwa hivyo hii mambo ya mauaji ovyo ovyo, ninataka kuchukua imani kwamba serikali yetu itachukua nafasi ya kuadhibu na hata kuwafuta hawa kazi, sababu huwezi kulinganisha maisha na mambo ya mahindi, huwezi kulinganisha maisha na chochote, na maisha inafaa kuchukuliwa na Mwenyezi Mungu peke yake, lakini sio binadamu. Kwa hivyo
we'll end here on this. Honorable members, given the gravity of the matter raised by the member for both Kericho and Tarbo, for the member for Kericho, I think you've misplaced the direction of your statement. What appear to be what you are describing is actually a matter for security. Because when bodies are lodged in some water bodies, the people who go to retrieve them are the police, not anybody else. So I'll direct your statement to go to the Committee on Internal Security, and the statement by Honorable Janet Stienay to go to Committee on Defense, and I direct that all the three statements, including the one for Likuyani, be brought to the floor of the House on Wednesday next week. On Wednesday next week, Majority Leader, ensure that the issue of the two people who drowned in Kericho, those who are allegedly shot by KDF in Tarbo, we get statements here on Wednesday, since you'll be recessing for 2 months on Thursday. Thank you. Member for Turkana Akuja. Is it Akuja Protas? What is your point of order, Kimtai? DK. Give him the mic. There's one next to you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I rise on a point of order. I know 2 weeks ago, you had directed the chairman for finance when I raised on to give a statement on the sale of Uchumi IPA, that is the Langata Uchumi IPA. I note that today is Wednesday, and that statement should have come today. And I'm being told there are even other developments. The court has gone ahead to rule on the case, and chances are the government might be losing up to around 1.4 billion. So can you, maybe we hear from the chairman on what is happening to this very important matter, which, if not checked by complacency and by collusion between the treasury and whoever wants to sell the plot.
DK, take your seat.
Okay.
The chairman of the committee was ready with your statement yesterday. You are not here at the time, and you appear now to be blaming the chairman and the House for not bringing your statement. That is not quite fair to the chair. In fact, you should have apologized to the House for not being here yesterday. At the time the statement was to be issued by the chair, I will direct that the chair of finance issues that statement. Is it finance or trade? Finance. He will issue that statement tomorrow morning. So you'll be here so that you don't blame anybody thereafter. Yes, honorable member? Are you on a point of order?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
What is out of order?
Point of order, Mr. Speaker, is that I raised the same issue that I'm raising again. I gave a statement on the two statements, one on the 18th of chair, which you directed that I get a reply on 2 weeks. On the 8th of this month, again, I had another statement which was directed to the chair of security and internal affairs. As well, you also gave a directive that, or the chair at that time gave direction that I should receive a reply within 2 weeks.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, I again stood on another point of order about a week ago on the same, and I was promised that it will be the replies will be delivered to the House Tuesday of this week. But to date, and as we go for recess, nothing looks like it's forthcoming. I've been to the offices of the clerk to find out whether we have a written statement. I need your direction, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Could you liaise with the majority leader to check on the chairman of those committees? Majority leader, if you can speak to the honorable member and direct the chairman to bring those statements. Give Honorable Akuja the mic. Take the one next.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 259D to pay tribute to the late Honorable Christopher Ebenyo Loonio, distinguished former member for Turkana East constituency, who passed away on Wednesday, 15th November 2023 at his residence home in Nakamane, Takwal location, Loima constituency. Honorable Speaker, the late Honorable Christopher Ebenyo Loonio was born in 1944 in Lodwar Town, Turkana County. He attended Lodwar Primary School from 1956 to 1959, where he sat for common entrance examination in grade 4. The late Honorable Loonio proceeded to Kapengura School in 1960 and completed grade 5 to 7 in 1962. In pursuit to his career, he joined Kenya Medical Training College in 1963, where he trained as a public health technician. Upon completion of his studies, the late Honorable Loonio was posted to Loktang Health Center, where he worked as a public health technician until he joined politics. Honorable Speaker, in 1974, Honorable Loonio fight for a parliamentary seat for Turkana East constituency, which he won and served diligently up to 1974, being the term of the third parliament. He was an astute legislator whose contribution to parliament, his committees, and the plenary were invaluable, and his colleagues held him in high esteem. Honorable Speaker, the late Honorable Loonio later left the political arena and transitioned to establishing and managing his business in Takwal Trading Center. In his death, we celebrate a life of well-respected leader who laid the foundation in enhancing access to health care in Turkana. Honorable Speaker, on my own behalf and that of my constituents, I wish to extend my deepest condolence to his family and the people of Turkana for the loss of a remarkable leader. Finally, Honorable Speaker, with your indulgence, may I request that we all stand to observe a minute of silence in honor of our departed colleague.
That is not for you, it's for the speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
There is a member for West Mugirango who had another tribute to a fallen former colleague. Then we'll observe a minute silence protest together. Yes, Mogaka? Give Honorable Mogaka the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. I also take this opportunity to pay tribute to the late Honorable Benson Kigorogero, who preceded me as Member of Parliament for West Mugirango in the 70s. Honorable Kigoro passed on last week in his sleep and is going to be laid to rest on Sunday at his home at Borabu constituency. Of the late Benson Kigorogero and the constituency. Honorable Kigoro, besides having been a member of the National Assembly, he also served as a member, as a councillor in the big county council of Nyamira, and he is a leader that has traversed several regimes, right from the regime of President Kenyatta, President Moi, President Kenyatta, President Kibaki, and passed on during the Kenya Kwanza regime. I want, on behalf of the people of West Mugirango, to celebrate the distinguished service that Honorable Benson Kigoro rendered to the people of West Mugirango and indeed the people of Kenya. And I will also plead with you, Honorable Speaker, that you invite the House to observe a minute of silence in honor of this great leader. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, in honor of the late Honorable Ebenyo of Turkana East and Honorable Kegoro of West Mugirango, can we observe a minute silence? May their souls rest in eternal peace. Thank you. And yes, Omongina, we are done with that. You want to speak about Kegoro? Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for allowing me also to mourn. This Honorable Kegoro has served the terms of the 5 presidents. And during his time, he is a man who has lived to be emulated. We have learned a lot from him, and I know the family is this time in great pain because Kegoro was not sick. He suddenly died. I want to give my tribute as I give hope to the family that death is the last enemy that God will destroy when he will come to take us to where he lives. May the Lord take care of the family. May the Lord comfort all the people of Nyamira and the people of West Mugirango. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, Chiforo Mondo.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand on standing order number 227. On Tuesday, 15th August 2023, Honorable Speaker, I presented a petition concerning land issue at Kidomaya Miongoni village, which is Parbat land. Pursuant to the standing order, the committee on petition was supposed to deal on the matter in 90 days, which elapsed on 15th November 2023. Mr. Speaker, as a member of parliament whom I presented the petition, I did not get any response, either I've not seen anything done over the same. I plead to your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, that you intervene and give direction over the matter. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Where is the chairman for Public Petitions Committee? Majority? Where is your chairman for Public Petitions?
He normally is here today.
Well, today is not normal. He's not
Today,
there.
today is one of those bad days, but he's, since the last time the chairman public petitions has been very diligent, he's always here.
I see him there all the time.
Yeah.
Can you direct him that he brings
I will take
the
responsibility for that
response
on his
to
behalf.
Chiforomondo's petition before we recess?
I will relay the information to him or the vice chair.
And advise, this time-bound businesses, majority, advise the chairs that when we have time-bound business, if for any reason they are not concluded, and it's possible that they may not conclude within the time, they should communicate with the petitioners or the members who brought the petitions, so that they know that there's still some work going on. Next order. Yes, is that Bashir? Bashir, what is it?
Honorable Speaker, I'm fully aware that yesterday you gave an order banning countersuits. Some of us, have tailor-made and invested in countersuits to be attending sessions in this house. Now, what do you do with these costly countersuits for the purpose of attending sessions in this house? And some of us don't put on mitumbas, it is original. So I don't know whether you can allow for an appeal on the same, so that we can be putting on these expensive tailor-made suits. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Bashir, you are here only 3 days a week. You can use those suits out there. If you have no opportunity to use them, you can also donate them to your deprived neighbors, so that they can use them. Honorable, next order, sorry. Order number 8.
Order number 8, the National Lottery Bill, National Assembly Bill number 69 of 2023, second reading.
Honorable members, I've been advised that the matter at order number 8 was dispensed of already, so we'll skip it. And before we go to order number 9, allow me to give some direction on order number 10 in consideration of the conflict of interest bill. Honorable members, you will recall that during the afternoon sitting yesterday, Tuesday, 28th November 2023, I allowed the member for Ariedo, the Honorable Dr. Otienda Molo, Senior Counsel, EBS MP, to raise concerns on the contents of the Conflict of Interest Bill 2023. The concerns were also contained in his 2 letters to the Speaker dated 21st November 2023. In prosecuting the matter, honorable members, the honorable member queried the constitutionality of various provisions of the bill and highlighted particular concerns with a number of provisions. This included the definition of the term public officer and the singling out of members of parliament and members of county assemblies in the bill, the shift from self-regulation of public bodies to the supervision of all public officers by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, ESCC, and the obligation on public officers to include their spouses in their wealth declarations. Honorable members, during yesterday's sitting, I did also allow the leader of the majority party as the sponsor of the bill and other members to ventilate on the concerns raised by the Honorable Otienda Molo. In the ensuing debate, it was reported that the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, JLAC, was at an advanced stage of reconsidering the bill. The Vice Chairperson of the committee, the Honorable Mwengi Mutuse, did confirm that the committee was seized of the matter and the concerns and had taken them into account in consideration of the bill. Consequently, I guided the House to await the tabling of an addendum to the report of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee on the bill. The report and the addendum would inform my ruling on the concerns raised by the Honorable Member for Arieda. Honorable members, I note that the chairperson of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee tabled an addendum to their report on the conflict of interest bill 2023 during today's morning sitting. From a perusal of the addendum, it is clear that the committee has addressed itself to the concerns raised by the Honorable Dr. Otienda Molo and indicated its views on the said concerns. Additionally, arising partly from the concerns of the member, the committee has proposed amendments for consideration by the House. As a member of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, the Honorable Dr. Otienda Molo, MP, yesterday did confirm having participated in the deliberations of the committee during its reconsideration of the bill. I'm therefore satisfied that the tabling of the addendum and the proposal of further amendments by the committee now sufficiently allows the House to consider the bill and the amendments at the committee of the whole House. As I conclude, honorable members, permit me to reiterate the significance of the Conflict of Interest Bill 2023. As aptly put by the leader of the majority party, the bill seeks to breathe life into the provisions of Chapter 6, focus on conflict of interest. As the House is aware, the bill seeks to repeal and replace the Public Officer Ethics Act 2003, which has never been fully updated to accord with the Constitution. The importance of the ongoing deliberations on the form and content of the bill cannot be overstated. I thank the honorable member for Arieda for raising pertinent issues and which can only assist the House to actualize a critical chapter of the Constitution. I'm satisfied that the bill may proceed for consideration at the Committee of the Whole. The House is accordingly guided. And allow me, honorable members, to thank the Rarieda member for a thorough reading, understanding, and appreciation of the bill, and the majority leader for equally rising to the occasion to meet the expectations bestowed on him. I now direct that when you go to committee stage, you proceed to consider all the amendments filed by whichever party so that the bill can move to the next level. I thank you. Next order.
Order number 9, the Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly Bill number 70 of 2023, second reading.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly Bill number 70 of 2023, be now read a second time. Honorable Speaker, this bill is related to the lotteries bill that was passed, that went through the second reading this morning, and it helps us to control or regulate the gambling industry. Honorable Speaker, I don't need to speak much on it because a lot has been said and members contributed on matters that even touch on this bill as a contributor to the bill on the lottery bill. Honorable Speaker, once more, let me take this opportunity to thank the members of the sports and actually the entire have been able to go through their report. Honorable Speaker, as very good recommendations. Of course, except with the exception of one or two recommendations in the committee's report that I do not agree with. committee proposes to delete the word 15 and substitute with 13. And the import of this amendment, clause 45, was imposing a tax to be known as a gambling tax, which is chargeable on the gross gambling revenue at a rate of 15%, and they propose to reduce it to 13%. There is absolutely no way I would agree to a reduction in tax on gambling. Gambling, like smoking, like the partaking of alcohol, these are considered as sin taxes. And sin taxes, you cannot reduce sin taxes under the pretext that you want to increase government revenue. In any case, that is why we are having a whole bill, a whole new legislation to be able to control this, I don't want to call it a menace, but this habit of gambling, Honorable Speaker. And I really want to persuade the members of the sports committee, when we are even looking at to be able to tap into the resources that people are putting in gambling through a national lottery, we should be increasing that revenue, gross gambling revenue tax, not reducing it from 15 to 13. I would actually be proposing so that we are able to collect more revenue, we are able to through the lottery causes. And the good causes, as we said, include the rehabilitation of people who are addicted to gambling. And I've said it before, Honorable Speaker, even in our own families, we know people who are addicted to gambling. And gambling is extremely addictive. It's actually more addictive than alcohol and smoking. Not that I have ever smoked, gambled, or I used to drink at some point, and I know how addictive it could be. I have never smoked, but I see how addictive smoking gets. I have said before, Honorable Speaker, I am a teetotaler, and I am a confessed addict of tea. And Honorable Speaker, I cannot leave my house before I take even a sip of tea, and it's Kenyan tea. Honorable Speaker, there are people who are pushing me to say Kericho tea. I said Kenyan tea. And now there's a new saying that there's no conversation is complete, and there is no subject that is so difficult that you cannot settle it over a good cup of Kenyan tea. Therefore, my addiction with tea is a good thing, Honorable Speaker. But I know what addictions do. You are dysfunctional when you have not taken what you usually take. But unlike tea, those who are addicted to gambling comes with a huge cost, not just to them as persons, but also to their families. People are spending money that's supposed to go and settle school fees for their children or for medication to gamble. Honorable Speaker, all these members will tell you that in their backyards, there are people who wake up in the morning, go to their local shopping centers to gamble. And that's all they do a whole day. They will be at the street corners and corners of their shopping centers, waiting for their Waheshimiwas, their MCAs, their members of parliament, whenever they are passing, to ask for handouts, not to go and do anything productive, to go and gamble with the hope we must ensure that we discourage our young people from getting into rather unproductive economic activities like gambling, and encourage them to get into more productive, economically productive activities other than gambling, Honorable Speaker. And you don't do that by lowering tax. When you lower tax, you make it very easy for them to gamble. And I know the other argument, Honorable Speaker, and I have seen it in the presentations by the industry players, that once you raise the taxes here, people will go and start gambling outside the country online. Honorable Speaker, if governments around the world are able to stop people from using WhatsApp? How difficult is it for a government to stop people from gambling online? It is possible, Honorable Speaker. And you don't need to stop them. Tax them even when they gamble, whether it's through PayPal, whether it's through M-Pesa, whichever means that you use to transmit that money to the company you are gambling with, whether it's a company in the UK, whether it's a company in the US, whether it's a company in South Africa. So long as you're able to remit money, government should be able to institute means and mechanisms through which the person who is remitting the money pays a tax, even at the point of remitting. And those are some of the new innovations, Honorable Speaker. I was hoping the sports committee would be innovative enough. But I do hope, Honorable Speaker, at the right time, because these tax matters, again, are better handled by the Finance Committee. And I hope even as we get to the next finance bill, we should get to a position where we'll be innovative. The Finance Committee and the National Treasury must begin thinking, how is it that they can also be able to tap into those who are gambling online, so that they either pay as a gamble and they're able to get part of the money even for those who win. So that, Honorable Speaker, the defeatist argument that if we raise our taxes here, people will go and gamble online in companies outside Kenya, then we can be able to get money even from those that are outside Kenya. Honorable Speaker, I said I don't want to dwell too much on this bill because a lot is what we said yesterday on the lottery bill, but I really want to plead with members to help us pass this bill because it is dealing with young. I have seen around the country very elderly men and women who spend all their time gambling. And I said, Honorable Speaker, yesterday, our radio stations, especially our vernacular stations, have made it now the norm. For every 2 sentences on a vernacular radio station that you listen to, the third sentence is promoting gambling. Honorable Speaker, I do hope that the measures therein in this bill to even control the advertisements of gambling companies will come to fruition when we pass this bill, so that we don't encourage Kenyans to gamble by bombarding them on TV with advertisements on vernacular radio, and that's how we are roping in even the very elderly, because they are made to believe that the easiest way to make $500,000 shillings is to just text a number to some radio station, and those people are collecting billions. Honorable Speaker, I said yesterday, it is now reported that most of our mainstream media stations are making more money from gambling than from their core business of broadcast or even from advertisements for corporates, Honorable Speaker. We must protect our people from being taken advantage of. Unfortunately, Honorable Speaker, it is not you and me who gamble. Although I know in the last parliament, Honorable Speaker, we had one member, without naming names, who was an addict and he would leave the chamber and run off to some casino somewhere. I have not seen that in this parliament, Honorable Speaker.
You knew one, I knew 3.
I didn't even say from where, Honorable Speaker. I hear somebody saying one from somewhere. You know 3. But unfortunately, it is 3.
I knew 3.
It is 3 in a population probably of 349 members of parliament and about 64 or 67 senators. So in a population of about 500 people, you can count 3 or 4. But if you go to the population outside there in our villages, Honorable Speaker, the most vulnerable people in our society are the ones who are being taken advantage of. It's actually immoral that we are taking money from the poorest of the poor. And because you make it look like you only need 10 shillings, 30 shillings, 50 shillings, it becomes customary that I will try my luck with my 10 shillings today, at lunchtime another 10 shillings, in the evening another 10 shillings, tomorrow I'll up the stakes to 30 shillings, the next day 50 shillings. And you know, they lure them by making them win with their 10 shillings bets. You win 100 shillings, then you spend the 100 shillings betting, hoping that you will now win 1,000 shillings. The day you win 1,000 shillings after spending 3,000 shillings, you win 5,000, you bet that, hoping that you will eventually be the one winning the $500,000 or $1 million shillings that is being promoted on TV. Honorable Speaker, I want to say I particularly support the provisions to also regulate the advertisements of gambling, betting, Honorable Speaker, so that we protect the most vulnerable, not just of our youth, of our elderly, but also of the very poor in our society who are being taken advantage of. And unfortunately, Honorable Speaker, when you look at the people who run these gambling companies, they are extremely or filthy rich people, very wealthy people, but they are making more money from the poorest of the poor in our society. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, we have an obligation and a duty to protect our poor people from being taken advantage of, to ensure that we have good laws, that will protect them, that will not make gambling look like it's a very good thing, Honorable Speaker. And as I said, since it is, in fact, I know in some religions, Honorable Speaker, they consider it to be a sin. And that is why I said, even in tax matters, this should be classified as a sin tax. And therefore, we cannot be encouraging reduction of taxes. And that's why I said I completely disagree. And I know Honorable Mashukuru, the Vice Chair, was here. I had indicated to them I disagree with the proposals in their report to reduce that tax. If anything, today we have, I think, excise duty at 12.5% in the last finance bill, which we passed only in July of this year. We had 5% withholding tax. Therefore, you are proposing not even to move from 15, you are proposing a tax cut of about a gross of 17.5 to 13%. Honorable Speaker, not during such hard economic times when we should be looking for avenues to raise every extra shilling. I will therefore be proposing amendments at the right time, Honorable Speaker, in relation to that clause 45 and clause 46 that touch on levies and taxes, Honorable Speaker. With that, I beg to move and request the Deputy Whip, who is also a member of the committee, who was designated by the Chair and the Vice Chair to second, on behalf of the committee to second. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Naomi Wako, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support the Leader of Majority in moving the Gambling Control Bill 2023, National Assembly Bill number 70 of 20. Mr. Speaker, it is clear that gambling is attracting a lot of attention and also has many people who practice in our country. And that is why Gambling Control Bill 2023 is here to seek and replace the outstanding betting, lottery, and gaming act of 1960. This was done. The act of 1960 is long time ago, many years ago. And I believe not many people who are here today were born by that time. The bill seeks to institute a comprehensive legislative framework for the regulation gambling in Kenya with specific emphasis on incorporating safe gambling principles within the sector. Additionally, the bill seeks to establish the Gambling Regulatory Authority, which shall bear the responsibility of licensing, regulating the gambling sector. Mr. Speaker, we have had a lot of challenges, just as I said yesterday with lottery, that even with gambling, many people have ruined their lives simply because of wasting their money, anticipating to be rich the following day. And in a way, it has also made people to be lazy because they believe in waking up every morning, doing this, and getting rich without working very hard. Control bill will help us to put in place all the measures that are needed, legislative framework that will guide and regulate gambling in Kenya. And again, just to have the gambling principles within gambling regulatory authority, whereby all the matters that concerns gambling will come under them, and the authority will be able to regulate, the authority will be able to investigate, the authority will be able to act in case of anything. Honorable Speaker, the Department Committee on Sports and Culture, in its consideration of the bill, noted the inadequacy of the current legal and institutional framework in addressing modern challenges existing within the gambling sector. Additionally, the committee expressed concerns about the organization, enforcement, and consumer protection aspects of gambling activities in Kenya. The committee therefore acknowledges the need for comprehensive overhaul for the legal framework relating to gambling in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, those who have been practicing gambling in our country have been exposed in many ways and have not had any protection. Many of them have lost even their properties. Many have even not been given their due rights. And that is why many of the people who have been in gambling have ended up being frustrated fellows, have been moved to depression and all these other things. And many of them keep complaining about the practice and all these other things. And when this bill will be approved, their protection will be assured, and even the people who own the gambling companies will be able to live within that and be able to give the people of our country their due rights. Honorable Speaker, the bill recognizes that gambling is a shared function between the national government and the county government. And it is important for us to know that yes, the policies are made, and it is there for both the national government and also the county government, because most of the people who practice this are within our counties and at the grassroots level. And that is why this will help our country, because it provides for the schedule to the Constitution. The bill, therefore, assigns a specific role to the two level governments and proposes concurrent regulatory functions for the national and county governments in gambling activity. Mr. Speaker, the bill also seeks to do the following. Number one, provide framework for the regulation and control of gambling activity. Once we do that, then we have protected the interest of the people who continue doing this and investing in this particular thing. And even if most of us are not for the idea, now that already most of our people, majority of Kenyans are practicing this, and some believe that it is the only way they can earn their living. Honorable Speaker, the only honorable thing that this House can do is to come up with this bill so that they can be well protected. Again, the bill will be, they expressly provide for the gambling activity that shall be legal in Kenya while prohibiting illegal forms of gambling. Others have taken advantage by doing illegal business here, and so this bill will protect those who have invested and those who have registered and have had their license, so that others will not be development of a responsible gambling industry. In the past, some people have been cheating Kenyans, and others have been, conning people in different ways, but this bill will bring that to an end. And again, it will minimize the social harm associated with gambling, because Kenyans will be given enough education. The last one, the bill will provide for the establishment of mechanism for the resolution of disputes relating to gambling. Again, many people have had conflict, and in order for us to have peaceful coexistence among our people, and also those who are practicing this to enjoy, then we can only put this into practice. Honorable Speaker, in as much as gambling is considered to be demerit good, its regulation brings forth some advantages to Kenya. One of the main highlights of the bill is that it seeks to provide an avenue for the generation of essential revenue for the government. Clause 45 of the bill provides for the payment of gambling tax. And it is on that we have the 15% rate of the gross gambling revenue, and which funds shall be remitted to the Sports, Arts, Social Development Fund, and the net effect of that will of course be positive, because through that revenue, many of the people will be able to transform their lives. The artists, the people who are doing sports, young people who are talented in different ways. And in our country today, we have many people who are also negatively affected by drugs, because the drug addiction is quite high due to lack of job in our country. And rehabilitation centers will be built, people will be given a lot of counseling, people will be rehabilitated, and maybe we can even come up with a proposal whereby all the people who are rehabilitated can be given some seed money so that they can go and begin a better life, do small businesses here and there so that they can improve their lives. Because of that, we need to support this bill so that it can have that positive impact on our people. And even for those who will be registering and having their license, it is good for them to give back to the society, because this is an area where mainly those people who do not have a lot are engaged in, because they believe in creating their wealth through this. Then they invest a lot in this. Let even the people who will be licensed give back to the society by going back to the communities, improving their lives, supporting the poor, supporting the vulnerable people, orphans, and even the institutions that take care of vulnerable children in our midst. Mr. Speaker, another key aspect of the bill is that it provides measures to mitigate the harm associated with gambling. These measures include public sensitization, self-exclusion, enforcement against illegal gambling, promotion of responsible gambling, advertising restriction, and criminalization of gambling by young persons. Further, the bill proposes stricter measures to mitigate issues related to gambling addiction. Mr. Speaker, the Department Committee on Sports and Culture have had enough interaction with stakeholders. Submissions have been done. Different ministries, Ministry of Youth Affairs, Ministry of Sports, and all the others have participated, and they have given their views. Mr. Speaker, the committee has considered this, and I take note that gambling.
Give her 1 minute to wind up. Give her 1 minute.
Yes, thank you. Honorable Speaker, I take note that Gambling Control Bill presents comprehensive and modernized approach to the regulation of gambling in Kenya. It aims to balance the economic benefits of the industry. And with those few remarks, I beg to second. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Naomi. Honorable members, I now propose the question that the Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly Bill number 70 of 2023, be now read a second time. Carol Omondi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'm a member of the committee, so I rise to support the bill. First, by recognizing that it has a very solid policy foundation. I think we have the gambling policy passed in 2022, which, among other things, seeks to balance between the need for a friendly investment climate, but also to establish a very robust regulatory regime for this particular sector by transforming gambling into a social force for social development. And one of the key planks of that policy is how to raise additional revenues, both for national government and the county government. So this particular bill is very timely, and the policy, of 2023 this bill gives life to that particular policy. Mr. Speaker, gambling, like tobacco, alcohol, prostitution, drugs, junk food, and all other demerit goods, tend to present challenges to many governments. Their consumption is generally considered socially unacceptable or undesirable, but at the same time, it is almost impossible to stamp them out completely because of their perceived negative effects to the consumers. Consequently, a balance has to be established as to how to limit their overconsumption or cases of addiction, damage to health, and the various dysfunctional social lives they cause, plus also a lot of external costs to third parties. But they also provide a very rich avenue for new emerging and very transnational crimes like tax evasion, money laundering, and financing of terrorism. In Kenya today, Mr. Speaker, the gross revenue for gambling is in excess of $250 million. And this sector is growing year on at 27 to 30%. You can imagine how much money is circulating in it. This particular bill seeks to establish the Gambling Authority of Kenya, the Gambling Appeals Tribunal, and a gambling tax, which, as you have heard, the majority leader would like to propose a higher regime. From our analysis, gambling tax in the region ranges from 15 to 25%. So we'll debate that at the right time. But also, it seeks to generate revenue for what we call good causes. This is culture, sports, arts, recreation, heritage, protection of vulnerable groups such as PWDs, aged orphans, protection, rehabilitation of problem gamblers, environment, climate change, relief, innovation, education, entrepreneurship, libraries, and supporting emergencies. But we also looked at the policy and incorporated certain safety measures that would help create sanity in this sector. For example, we are proposing restriction on gambling advertisement, both to the news companies, but also to the gambling companies, and also the times and the regime of how gambling advertisement should be handled so as to protect children and other vulnerable groups. We are also in the bill proposing regulation of online gambling. This is where people gamble on the internet or through use of remote communication. And this is very addictive, but also presents transnational issues on jurisdiction as also, well, opportunities for money laundering and financing of terrorism. And then we have proposed in the bill very strict deposit limits so that people gamble in small amounts to avoid impulsive gambling. And we have also proposed restriction on use of what are called prediction apps. In fact, we had a small group of very good Kenyans called Gambling Association Society of Kenya, led by a gentleman called Nelson Bwire and his friend, I think, Kipto, who educated us a lot about this